Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Checkpoint on Campus. I am your host, Jacob Brothers. I am joined by Erica Sidora, and we are also joined by a very, very special guest, the co-founder of the Gamehers organization, Rebecca Dixon. Rebecca, how are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you. So I heard about this recently, and this seemed fascinating to me, the Gamehers. And so starting from the top, if you could just kind of give me a rundown of like how it all works and how it all just kind of came together.
Sure. The Gamers launched in March of 2020. I'm one of the co-founders. I have three other co-founders, and we actually are not endemic to the gaming industry. We had a company prior to this in the parenting industry. We created a community for expectant and new parents, and we grew it, and we over a course of a number of years, we learned a lot about community building and how to build engaged communities and connect with both, nonprofits and brands and all of these sort of different organizations in order to build and nurture a community. And we also had a platform in that company that connected parents and caregivers. So when we sold the company in 2016, we then were trying to decide what to do. We all love being entrepreneurs, and we also, while not endemic to the gaming industry, had some adjacencies to the gaming industry, we like to call them. My family is involved in esports through being part owners of Team Envy and the Dallas Fuel. So I kind of, at family dinners was learning about that. And my brother and my dad have been super involved for a while. And so I just started learning about the gaming industry. One of my co-founders went from the parenting industry to the toy industry, was doing some toy design with Al Khan, who's the visionary behind Pokemon. So we started learning about gaming, the gaming industry in general, realizing how big the gaming industry is, and we're entrepreneurs, so that was fascinating to us. Then we started looking at women in gaming, and we're like, women are almost half of gamers worldwide. It doesn't seem like that's really reflected in, the percentage of developers and the protagonists and all the different points that you could check, the esports scholarships, all of it. So we did a deep dive into who was addressing that issue. It turns out a lot of people were, a lot of organizations, but we did think that there was a place for sort of our expertise in community building. And so what we said is, we're going to launch as a media platform that amplifies the women that are in gaming, the organizations that already exist, bring them to a sort of higher level, put them out there so that there are clearer career paths, clear paths to careers in gaming. And internally then have a really kind of safe and inclusive community, because obviously the other piece of it is there's a lot of toxicity and harassment. So we launched right along with COVID. Turned out not to be the worst time to launch a company in the gaming industry. And we grew a lot over the past year. And we just last month announced our collegiate division, because we realized that if we are going to make a big difference for women in gaming, we definitely need to focus on college. So that's how we got here.
That is absolutely fascinating. So the immediate question I have to ask, because there's obviously so many differences between parents and between gamers as far as community goes, but what were the similarities when it came to like reaching out to those people and talking with those people?
So there's like one huge thing, which is the best, I think, way to grow an authentic and engaged community is to sort of see what's working immediately upon building that in any community. The sort of early adopters, the first people in the community, look immediately back to them and then build based on what they say. So before we even launched and before we made the decision that there was a place for us to even launch, we talked to thousands of women gamers. We talked to them on the phone, online. Before the world shut down for COVID, we were able to go to a couple of PAX events, and we found a really common thread, which is that while, the toxicity and harassment issue does get a lot of airtime, and it should go away for sure. And we definitely address that and talk about it and help, try to work on initiatives to try to fix it. What we found in discussions with a lot of the women who game is they really want to talk about, for the most part, like what positive things gaming has brought to their lives and how gaming has, helped build their own community, their own network, help them get to college, get to their group of friends, get to their career, escape from things, like all of the reasons that women game and that they like to game. That's actually what they mostly want to talk about. And we have a very active Discord. We have one of the biggest Discord, all women, although we have lots of men allies as well, but all women Discord communities. And they talk about everything under the sun, like gaming and also everything else. And so I think that was a really big one. That, and then sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry. I just had another question come up here. So you announced that this division's about to begin and that it's upcoming. So when it comes to, because we mentioned representation as well. So in professional esports, we don't see as much. Do you anticipate there being a difference there on the collegiate level? Because with all these students that are kind of all going through the same thing at the same time, playing these collegiate games.
It's almost a little bit more accessible in college. It's still not there. Obviously, if you look at college esports scholarships, women aren't getting them very often. But a lot of it, I think, is just that the conversations aren't happening. So one of the reasons that we founded our company is just to say, like, hey, guess what? There are women who game. And, not necessarily every high school gamer wants to be like a trailblazer and be like the one woman who games at this new college. They just want to like game in college with friends, like just make it normal. And so that's one thing we're talking to a lot of colleges about doing. Every college has a different situation. We have a couple of colleges that we've launched with DePaul University is one of them that have a group of existing women gamers, and maybe they're not on the varsity team, but they're sort of like surrounding the team, and there's a community and all of that. But at DePaul, for example, and a few others that we have established, they didn't have like a format around kind of which to come. So like now they can be the gamers, there can be a leader, they can have an Instagram account, they can have get-togethers, they can have meetings, they can have gaming nights, all that stuff. That's great for those schools, and that model will work at a lot of schools. Also, that model won't work at a lot of schools where they have no women who game. But of course, like they do have women who game, they just don't talk about it. So we are in the process of rolling out a code of conduct. And a code of conduct is something that a school can sign before they really have any women on their teams, any women that talk about gaming or whatever, just to say like, we abide by this code of conduct, which, to summarize it, basically says be nice. But it says a lot, it says a lot more than that. But it says, it gets the conversation going like, hey, if you're in high school, we support the gamers at XYZ college, or we are supported by them, or we adhere to these, guidelines, in which case maybe that'll make a high school student, think about it more. One thing we realized is if we're going to address the collegiate esports space, then like we immediately need to address the high school esports space, because you got to get it. Yeah, you have to start talking about it before.
Yeah, you have to start somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Rebecca, I'm so excited for this. I am all for a female-only community. I mean, it really cultivates empowerment within the community. I have a few questions for you as a female gamer and who's someone who's so excited about this. I want to know how you are making this environment different from the normal male environment. You know what I mean? How are you cultivating comfort and safety within this community?
Sure. So, the biggest, again, speaking back to that original, how did we build our community as it exists now, is that we found a consistent need from women who game for a place to go that had, a safe and secure sort of feeling. And let's, for example, Discord. Like Discord, it can be safe and also cannot feel safe. And if you have, it's not always within your power to determine if that's the case or not. You can't delete old conversations, all the different things. And so the main thing that is going to sort of differentiate communities that we have is no tolerance. So immediate removal from the community. That's number one. And number two, we have an app coming out. I don't think I mentioned that. It's going to be free, and then there eventually will be upgrades. But the way the app works is also the way that all of our sort of communities will work, which is that it's the security is driven. I mean, of course, the app has a lot of technology, safety measures built into it, but the ability to block anyone immediately and never have to see or talk to them or see any conversation with them again is there. And so it's just an absolute no tolerance. Whereas there's no like process to go through. It's not, it's not edited. Like if you don't want to see someone, you never have to see them again.
That's wonderful. I love that. Not to mention, it's difficult in my experience, putting my foot down as a female gamer. It's difficult when everyone around me is already dudes and they're like, oh, if you butt out, you like, you're weak, or like they call you names and stuff. So I think it's really, really safe and really awesome to have this like one and done system. Block and go. That's awesome.
Right. And it's not, I mean, listen, could you be calling someone out and they didn't mean anything by it? Maybe, but like it's your
peace of mind,
so,
peace of mind.
Yeah. So I think that also, in an ideal world, we'll all just be able to game together and women and men can be together. And a lot of people say like, why do you have to separate the women? Ultimately, maybe in a perfect utopian world, we won't have to, but like we're totally not there right now. So until that moment, I think exactly what you were saying. It'll be nice to have, a space that is like that.
Thank you. I definitely agree. Our final question today is, what can you expect from Gamehers? Can you expect any culture coming out of it? How are females going to come out of this program more empowered, more confident in their playing? Will we see an upsurge in female professional esports players, as well as people starting off in collegiate and then soon trailblazing into the professional esport company?
Yeah, I mean, that's the goal. Listen, the goal is to change the narrative, have it be normalized that women game in professional esports and also in all the professions surrounding esports, right? Like the esports lawyers, the branders, the PR, the everything around it. And so we want the conversation. We want to be so successful that we're not necessary anymore. That being said, we're really excited to have this community. We'll have discussions and places to find jobs and support and all of the things that women who game, deserve and should have easy access to.
Fantastic. There we have it. Well, Rebecca, thank you so much for coming on to the show.
We're
really looking forward to see how the Gamers expand. We're really looking forward to see how this how this division pans out, and we hope for the absolute best for the future.
Thanks for having me. Great to be here.